We're rolling.
Now we're rolling, baby. Good job, Hunter. Damage Plan MMA podcast. I am Jason, as always, my co-host Zach, and we got a special pick guest. Zach's son Hunter is joining us. What's up, Hunter? You gonna give us your picks?
Who's gonna win? Kamara Usman or Gilbert Burns?
Gilbert Burns.
Burns is gonna beat Usman.
Burns.
Oh, you heard
Smart
it.
kid.
You heard it first here.
Smart
Hunter
kid.
thinks. All right.
Okay. All right.
Hunter made his pick.
I'll see you, buddy.
See you later, dude. Enjoy the game tonight.
Okay.
Love you.
It's awesome. Hey,
Sorry.
he made his pick.
Yeah, he made his pick. It's official.
He sounded confident.
He sounded confident.
I like the level of confidence. He didn't even blink. He just Burns. Burns is going to win. All right.
Yeah.
Dude, how pumped up are you about the other day's podcast still?
I laugh at it all the time. All the time.
I've gone back and re-listened to it a couple times, and it's, yeah.
Fire.
Like, what could we do? Like, we couldn't even talk. That was pretty fun. Like,
It was fun. I think there's, I have a lot of respect for both fighters as fighters for sure, and what they've done as pros and pro careers. But it is mind blowing to me that there are still people out there that think like wrestling isn't fighting like a man. And
Yeah,
I'd love to have him on as like a one-on-one sometime to talk about kind of that philosophy, because it shows there still are people that like fight like a man, like whatever. And I think Talon said it's like, dude, this is MMA, or maybe it was Kerry Latimer, somebody. He's like, this is MMA. Like, I mean, and Steve even said, yeah, swing away, dude. He'll make it easier to take you down. Like that is, I think. I don't know. It's MMA. I don't think there's anything I've never perceived like, oh, a wrestler that just lays on you, fight like a man. It's like, if you don't like it, you better be able to stop the takedown. Yeah.
I think that comes with, I shouldn't say maturity because they're both the same age. I should say maturity in the fight game. Yeah. In the sport, because Steve's been around. I mean, he's had way more fights. Will's still fairly new. He's only had 7 fights, 9 fights. He's getting started as Steve had already left the sport. So Steve's kind of went through that cycle already, I think. And you're seeing, Will kind of grow into that a little bit too. I mean, if you weren't excited for that card already, you watch that. We've done a lot of podcasts over the last year. I don't think we've ever had one like that. We haven't had one like that.
No, never.
Freaking amazing. All right, before we get on to the UFC 258 breakdown, what do you think about Dana White saying Colby Covington, Leon Edwards?
That's the fight for Leon Edwards. I'm driving myself crazy. I'm literally commenting to Doug Anderson and Cruz Soto right now. It's driving me crazy because they think like these fighters that are on these win streaks, did I miss the policy in the UFC that says if you win 8 fights in a row, that no matter who or what, 8 wins in a row equals a title shot? Is that a rule? Did I miss that?
No, you didn't miss it.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure, because it's the whole philosophy of working your way up to about the top 3 to 5. And now it's like, I'm just going to sit and wait for a title shot. No.
I mean, is there something in there though with Edwards? Does he get a little bit of a pass because of COVID and him not being able to? But he did have, obviously we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. He had opportunities last year, I think, to fight, right?
Where he got a pass from me was he was scheduled to fight Tyron Woodley, and that was like the one of 2 canceled cards that happened when COVID first started, right?
Yeah.
Super unfortunate, because I think he beats Tyron Woodley handily, and he's in this position instead of Burns. But that fight did not happen.
Yeah.
And then he has been offered fights since then, like Wonder Boy, that made a lot of sense, that he said no.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to fight anybody below me. Well, no, you do. Now, if there was nobody else and Charles Oliveira is in the same boat, one weight class below, they're in the same boat to me. Great fighters, check. Long winning streak, have earned to be in that mix. Check, they're in the mix. Here's the thing, though. It's so loaded there at the top in both divisions. There are 5-6 guys deep that can make an argument that, they deserve to be in there for it. When there's that cluster there, they have to fight each other and let whoever rise to the clear number one contention, I think.
Yeah. Something needs to happen. And did you see also that Dana said Khabib's coming into town and they're going to go have dinner? And what's crazy is you and I had this conversation. You called me yesterday or the day before, and I said, why hasn't Dana come out and said anything about Khabib? He hasn't said he's retired. He hasn't said he's not the champ. Like, can we get some clarity, please? Like,
Dana's just playing the marketing game right now.
Smart.
I don't
business wise.
I don't like it. My personal opinion, I don't even think Dana's trying to convince Khabib to come back. I think they're talking about getting Khabib's promotion that he just bought.
Promotion. I agree.
On Fight Pass and getting that, figuring out how that can become sort of feeder into the Dana White Contender Series or into the UFC, similar to LFA. But he's just dangling that carrot because it keeps it interesting and keeps it relevant. But Khabib has not balked one time on I'm done. These guys don't have anything to offer for me.
Yeah.
Not once.
No, he hasn't.
But we did have the conversation. What's interesting is he's saying things like he's trying to put Poirier over, right? And trying to, this is the guy that deserves to be the champion. He's beat everybody. He's this and he's that and stuff like that. It's very important for Khabib that the next champion be either Poirier, Gaethje, or McGregor. The 3 guys that he beat.
Yeah.
Because if Oliveira becomes the next champion or Michael Chandler becomes the next champion, they'll always be able to say, you didn't fight me and I would have beat you. And it really doesn't matter if people believe it or not, because we can sit here and go all day. This person beats this guy. Chimaev beats Edwards. Edwards beats Chimaev. We could say this and that all day long, but it doesn't matter until we actually see it.
Yeah.
And we don't know. We've seen plus 800 guys shout out Michael Bisping beating Luke Rockhold on a few days' notice. Shout out Nate Diaz beats Conor McGregor on a few days' notice. Like, we've seen shocking upsets.
Yeah.
Holly Holm, like a plus 1,300, knocking out Ronda Rousey. Like, we've seen it when before we go, there's no way this person can win. So you can't. So if Edwards or not Edwards, I'm sorry, but if homeboy Chandler or Oliveira win and they're the next title holder, it kind of makes Khabib come back. I think
makes sense.
But
it's a great scenario. But
I don't think, and part of the reason why that very reason is why I think Dana White doesn't just make the Michael Chandler Oliveira fight for the title like Poirier requested.
Yeah.
Because Dana White knows that too. Dude, he's been in this game for a long time. He knows how
he's smart. He's super smart.
He knows. He knows he screwed up by putting all of his eggs in that Conor McGregor egg basket too. He put all of his eggs in that with the Khabib thing. And now and of course Dana wants Khabib back.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
He's arguably the greatest MMA fighter of all time. But anyways, Leon Edwards, Colby Covington, that's perfect. I'm happy. I will be right back on the Leon Edwards bandwagon if he takes this fight with Colby Covington, beats him. He beats Colby Covington, clear cut, number one contender. End of discussion.
If he beats Colby, I agree with you. He's up there.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. If he right now, it's like, well, does Jorge get another shot on a full camp? Covington Usman was a great fight. Does he get another shot? Like they fought recently, Leon's just waiting. Like, does he really? Do you really reward a guy for waiting and turning down fights? Like there's all this right here.
Yeah.
You go and you beat Covington. Right, and same thing for Covington. The winner of that fight is the clear-cut number one next.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I like to see. right? That's what I like to see.
I'm going to change the subject real quick on this. What was your take? Did you see the tweets about Ryan Hall pulling out of the Dan Ige fight?
He got hurt.
Yeah, but there's something a little fishy. If you go back to last year, Hall pulled out against Ricardo Lamas.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, per his team, he shouldn't be out long. And he said he would love to fight Dan Ige, right? Mm-hmm. Well, now he's pulling out of the fight with Dan Ige, but now he's saying he wants to fight Jeremy Stephens. Like, do you see what I'm saying here? Like, why is he pulling out of these fights and he's going to a different opponent 2 different times? Like, what's the do you take anything from that, or am I off on this? I just find it weird. It's like
possible. I'm not there in the camp. I could see him just being like, well, Dan Ige is going to take another fight. Like they're finding a replacement for me. He's taking another fight. Like, maybe
he wants to fight in April. Yeah. He said Jeremy Stephens in April. If Ige, I guess, doesn't want to wait till then.
Right. And so I think that it might be a game of him, not a game, but it might be more of him just wanting to, just move on.
Yeah.
Right. He doesn't have that same mind track like I do. Right. Like I want is a Ryan Thaxton rematch. And now I want to fight Johan Rubio more than anything. And the other fights don't really mean much else to me right now because that's what I was focused on. Maybe Ryan Hall shares a differing opinion on that. And once he's ready to move on, he's ready to move on.
Yeah. Well, I just caught my attention yesterday. It was kind of
Ryan Hall is getting himself in a similar situation though, where the inactivity is going to make him irrelevant.
Yeah, you got to be on it nowadays, man. He's
impressive, but he's only a 1 or 2 fight losing streak from being cut because he's just so inactive.
Did you listen to Joe Rogan with Francis Ngannou?
I'm in the middle of that podcast.
I just started it too. It's a great freaking podcast. It's making me like him even more now.
Who, Francis?
Francis, yeah.
I've always liked him.
I've always liked him too, but he wasn't
so
up there.
Likable.
Like, he really is.
He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Should we get into UFC 258 pay-per-view? You ready to break this baby down? Are you still arguing with people online?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Fabio's fighting on the 24th. Yeah, he's up there. I think they're not the co-main event. He's like 3rd or 4th.
Well, we got a bunch of people trying to get into the Facebook group after that.
I know, but it's because of the dang podcast, man. Everybody's going crazy listening to that podcast, those guys. We need to do more of those, but we need to do them with the right combination. Like, you can't have Zach and Johan on the same podcast. Like, you guys are
we're just too nice.
You're too nice. You're the Wonder Boys, like, you guys are nice.
Oh, calm down. Wonder Boy's the nicest guy ever. I am not that nice.
That was like the perfect storm of like, you got one guy that's just kind of like laid back and you got the other guy chirping and then the other guy kind of chirps a little more. And it was just like the perfect storm. Everybody
that's been being like, hey, you should do that more. I'm like, I would love to, but they're probably not going to be as good as that because that was awesome.
That's going to be very hard to top because I'm even thinking of like, man, who locally could we get? Because we got, I mean, you called it. Like, if we tried to get Zach Cavender and Jerome Hatch on there, Jerome would be great. Jerome would be. Now you get Jerome and like William Dunkel on together. Holy shit! Whoa! But Cavender,
we would just it would be now we're rolling, and then they would just.
I mean, Cavender's just too laid back. He's not, he's not for the smack talk. Cavender's kind of like, I mean, he's like Usman. He just wants to go out there and do work and get over with and not talk trash. But yeah, I've been trying to. Oh,
hey, not so blue. Not only we're going, I'm commentating, and it's on the 27th, not the 27th.
Yeah, and we're setting up a podcast with you while you're watching. We'll set your good podcast up either next week or the week after because we're also setting up Tandy and Deanna Bennett on the podcast for next week to talk about the Showdown fights.
Yeah, they had a big part. They had a good relationship with Will, and they're a big part in bringing women's MMA into Utah. And Jason has that connection, made that connection with them. So that'll be great to get them on to talk about women's MMA starting in Utah and the role that they had with Will on getting that going.
It's kind of perfect timing with this willpower card. I mean, I'm down there training today, and I'm like, why have we never gotten Tandy on the podcast? I don't know. Sorry, Tandy, but you're coming on next week.
Right
let's
let's run through this really quick.
All right, let's run through it
because this is a fabulous card.
It's a great card. I heard some people. I was listening to some other. I like to listen to other people's opinions on it, and somebody's like, "Well, after the main event, this card's stale." What? What are you watching? Like
this?
Do you not watch MMA?
From kickoff, I'm stoked.
Dude, Julian Robertson, Miranda Maverick's it's a great fight. Like, I mean, typically in these women MMA fights, you can usually bet the over and be safe.
Not that one.
Not that one. And honestly, out of the 3 fights, I bet you could take the under on all 3 of these women fights because I think all 3 of them could be finished early. This isn't going to be your typical, let's just get out and get a 3-round decision and it's over. I think you're going to see some fireworks on this card. What's your breakdown? Julian Robertson, Miranda Maverick. Who do you like in this one?
Never mind. I'm not going to say that. Julian Robertson, 6-3 in the UFC. I love how active she is. She does grappling competitions when she's not competing. She's shown a great ground game, and she's scrappy and always in the fight. Even if from the bottom, she can pull off submissions from the bottom. She kind of got smashed her last MMA fight. She's tough. I like to lean towards her because she's never out of a fight because she'll stay in there. She'll take punishment. She'll never quit. And she's got slick jiu-jitsu.
She has really slick jiu-jitsu. She's no joke on the ground.
That being said, Miranda Maverick's different.
She's a killer, man.
And the fact that she's only minus 140, I think is ginormous value.
And that's gone up. It was even closer. It was the coin flip 2 days ago on that card.
Miranda Maverick we're going to be talking about another young lady as well in the future, but we are looking at the future of women's MMA here. And Julian Roberts is really good. And I'm not trying to take away anything from her because I think very highly of her. But Miranda Maverick is that different. Her last fight, she showed vicious striking. She's powerful. She's throws a straight left and cracks people with it. And then she follows it up with elbows and splits opponents' faces wide open. And then we all know what she can do on the ground. She's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, Julian may have the experience advantage. Miranda Maverick is only 23 years old, but she has 10 fights and then an extensive amateur background as well. In 5 years, she has racked up starting back at, 6 years now, but ever since she turned 18, she fought 8. She went 7-1 as an amateur and now is 8-2 and holds wins over people like Deanna Bennett, Pearl Gonzalez, and Invicta. Beat seasoned girls that have a lot more experience than with her. I think she's she should be more than 2-1 favorite in this. I think Miranda Maverick kind of dominates. Unfortunately, Julian's always dangerous, but Miranda Maverick I'm a believer.
I think you nailed it. Miranda Maverick. Do you see this fight going the distance?
I do because Julian Robertson's a little savage and she'll hang in there and she won't quit. But Miranda Maverick does have the power to inflict enough damage for another doctor stoppage, or because that's the other thing. She doesn't settle in a position and just kind of rabid punches. Like she goes in there for damage.
Yeah,
she has that great killer instinct.
Miranda Maverick. We're both on Miranda Maverick. Next up, we got Gabe Green and Philip Rowe.
So
this is an interesting one.
I really like Philip Rowe. He's a slight underdog right now, and I kind of like him.
Here's my only drawback on Philip Rowe. He's got a huge reach advantage in this. He's got a 7-inch reach advantage, 4-inch height advantage. He's a big guy, My only issue looking at him, looking at the guys he's fought, because he beat Leon Shabazian to get to the UFC on the Contender Series. But looking at the guys
Edwin
he's fought,
Shabazian's little brother.
Yeah, he beat him. But if you go back and look at the guys he's fought, he hasn't fought anybody. Leon Shabazian was a good win. He was 7-1, but then he beats a 4-5 guy, beats a 1-2 guy, beats an 0-3 guy, beats an 0-1 guy, beats a 1-1 guy. He's not fighting anybody, and that scares me because Gabe he's tough. He's fought the tougher competition. I like Gabe Green to pull this one out.
So, okay. I mean, I that's fine. Gabe Green lost a super close decision in his UFC debut.
On short notice.
He's got great high kicks. You'll throw him with his front or back leg. I really noticed that. He switches stance a little bit. His downfall is though he telegraphs his striking a little bit, and a lot of just like single kicks. Doesn't set up his kicks with punches. A lot of single punches or 2-punch combinations. Not a high volume guy. Good pressure guy. Really good chin. Took a lot of shots in his UFC debut. But when I see somebody that telegraphs their striking and a lot of single kicks and punches, I think somebody like Philip Rowe and his range and how long he is could cause a lot of problems for that. Somebody that uses it. If he uses it. And Shabazian was long too when he fought him. And you got to remember, the other thing I like with Rowe, he got dropped and he was in a lot of trouble in the first round of that Dana White Contender Series fight. Fought through the adversity. And when he hurt Shabazian, it wasn't just 1-2 punch combos. He was throwing 8-10 punches. I mean, he has a good killer instinct to where if he hurts you, he'll put you away. I'm not like hard sold on the pick. It's pretty much a coin flip. Not putting any money on this fight, obviously. But I think Rowe could edge out a decision here. I really do.
Yeah, we'll go opposite ends of the spectrum on that one. I'll take Gabe. Sure. I'll take Green by decision. You got Rowe by decision.
I like it.
The next fight, this is a banging fight too. Ricky Simone and Brian Boom Kelleher, the best rapper in MMA. I love that guy's Twitter. He's always rapping.
Dude, he's great on social media and Twitter.
He's good. He is good.
He is great on social media and Twitter. And he's great in the cage. He's veteran, very slick submissions, holds wins over a lot of respectable and notable guys. You know, like he's been around and he's been just doing it for a long time. He's been in there, holds a win over Hernandez. Took out Hunter Azure, who we like, beat Odie Osborne, who looked incredible last weekend, beat that guy, right?
Yeah.
He's been in there with a lot of guys, but I kind of feel like his losses are usually to guys that are just look at the like little powerhouses or like kind of just like guys that have potential to be, I don't know. He has this weird mix of he's beat some of those young hype guys, but he's also lost to him pretty bad. I look at that Cody Stamann fight and how he lost to Cody Stamann, and I think this fight looks very, very similar.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, here's the way I look at it. This is another one of those fights that I think is, my dad rocks from Hunter. Yeah, your dad does rock, Hunter. He's pretty cool, dude. I think looking back at Kelleher and looking at Simone, this is another one that I think Ricky Simone has more paths to victory than Kelleher. Kelleher, I think his only shot now is he has that KO power. He can knock Simone out, and Simone's shown that he can be knocked out. He got knocked out by Uriah Faber, which I think was kind of a fluke, but he still got knocked out. And
100% a fluke.
They
fight 10 times, he wins 7 or 8 times.
The only other thing that I see is, I mean, he's got a nasty guillotine choke, but I don't see Simone getting caught in that. And I see him kind of grinding it out, like you said, like Stamann did, just grinding it out. I was a little, Ricky Simone hasn't fought at 145 in like 3 years. And he's moving up. Most of his fights have been at 135, but he's looking at the face-off. I'm
short notice. Remember, short notice. He's just not smart, not cutting down to 135.
I had that as one of my highlights of things to look at when I was looking through and doing my research. But then when I saw the face-offs, I'm not too concerned about it. He looks good, but I like Simone by decision.
Okay. I can get with that.
We're both riding on Simone by decision. Next up, we got Andre Ewell against Chris Gutierrez. What's your take on this one, Mr. Zach?
So Mr. Gutierrez, so Andre Ewell, good experience. He's 3-2 in the UFC. He's on a 2-fight win streak. He was supposed to fight last week, got scratched. That's if anybody's familiar with his name right now. His fight was scratched last week, and so they got this Chris Gutierrez fight. You know, it's a close fight. I don't know if you remember Chris Gutierrez, but that's the guy that stopped Vince Morales with leg kicks.
Nasty calf kicks. Nasty.
By the way, not just Vince Morales, stopped Jimmy Flick. Before they got into the UFC, Timur Valiev, who won last week, holds the win over him and was his first ever loss. Chris Gutierrez is no joke, folks. He's no joke. And he is a nice kid that has a nice smile, and he's happy to be in there. And when he gets in there, he's a killer, man. He is a killer. And he lost by a rear naked choke in the UFC, but you know, he is 7-1 in the UFC. All of his losses, he lost to Timur Valiev, but all of his losses are to, you know, good guys. You know, lost to a guy that was 12-1, lost to a guy that was 15-3 that had way more experience than him. Like, and he has an extensive amateur career, which I
always like that. I love that.
I
like to see that.
So heavy on Chris Gutierrez on this fight. I really, really like him.
I'm with you on that one. I don't even really need to break that down any more than that. I'm a huge fan. I like him. I think he ends up getting it done. Do you see him stopping him, or do you see this one going to decision?
I could definitely see him stopping him, actually.
All right. This next fight is Polyana Viana and Mallory Martin. This is going to be a good one too.
What was your take on this one?
So this is another one where I keep going back and forth, where Mallory Martin, I like she trains at Elevation Fight Team, which they're kind of the hot gym right now at Elevation. She's strong. She's kind of like she's almost like a Macy Barber or Miranda Maverick. She's strong, powerful. She's young, good wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Then you flip over to Polyana. I mean, she's got great striking. I loved her striking. She's got great jiu-jitsu. You looking back at her record, she's got some losses on there. She lost by armbar, which I mean,
you caught in an armbar.
It's like she got caught. Like, let's just face it. But she's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. She just got caught. I'm not going to take that as anything. I'm actually going to go with the underdog, and I think Polyana Viviana gets it done. She fights good off her back. She's got slick submissions off her back. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm not confidently saying this by any means, but I think there's some value in her as being the underdog. I think she's a plus 110 right now. No, she's plus 125. It's actually going up a little bit more.
Money's coming in on Molly.
I'm gonna take it because I think it's a close fight.
I think it's a close fight, and Viviana has elite jiu-jitsu. What handed the first loss to, you ready? Amanda Ribas. Beat Amanda Ribas. First person to beat her. She's only 2-3 in the UFC, and she's 1-3 in her last 4, and did lose 3 of those in a row. So there's got to be, to me, there's got to be some sort of disconnect on blending her jiu-jitsu with the MMA. And you see this sometimes as people transition into the sport. Once it gets onto the ground, she's in her element, and I think she's fine. I think she struggles blending them, because if you watch her just on her feet too, she's got long, good punches. They snap really well, like good snapping punches, keeps people at the end of her punches. I like her a lot, and what I saw in the film from her last fight, I liked it a lot. Mallory Martin too, I like her a lot. All 3 of her losses are to high quality opponents.
Yeah.
You know, she lost a tough one in Invicta in her Invicta debut. And then she lost a unanimous decision to Macy Barber when Macy Barber finishes everybody else besides her.
She's a killer. Yeah.
So everybody else besides her gets finished, and she handled Macy Barber. That's a big check mark, even though she didn't get the win.
Huge.
You know, and then she goes on a great run. I watched her Dana White Contender Series fight. She didn't get the contract, but she was impressive.
They do have a common opponent too.
And then and I was going to get to that, but she lost to Jan Jaroba, the person that you don't know which way her eyes are looking. Yeah. You know, crazy eyes over there. She lost to Crazy Eyes, but that's okay because she's really good at jiu-jitsu too. I could call her Crazy Eyes. She choked me out too. I'm not trying to make fun of how good she is. It just kind of freaks me out when she's looking at the camera. But Hannah Cyphers, she stopped Hannah Cyphers, and Viviana got a close split decision win over Cyphers, right? That's
I think she lost to Cyphers.
Or lost to her, but it was a close split decision.
Close decision, yeah. Yep.
So
split. So
it's like common opponents, MMA math. Like my guts almost like take a risk with Viana. And
that's kind of
where I kind of want to go that, but everything else says Mallory should win. And she's a good wrestler. She trains at a great team. I think she's going to be ready for her jiu-jitsu, and I think she has the edge on the feet.
I don't think she has the edge on the feet. That's where
I think she does.
You think so?
Yeah, I think she does, just a little bit.
This should be a good fight.
I think it's a good fight. I'm not super confident in this pick again.
What's Viana by submission prop?
I don't know.
I'm going to look. I'm going to tell you while you're listening.
I bet it's good.
It's plus 390 for Viana to win by submission.
That's a great
and she fights good off her back. Mallory could end up taking her down. I mean, there's so many different ways that this fight could go with both of these girls. They're both good. They're both savages.
That's a great.
So who are you going with? Who's your pick?
I'm going with Mallory. We're going
with Mallory. All right, so we're going opposite ends in the spectrum here. Mm-hmm. But I do like the I like the value on Viviana. I can see it going either way, but
let's put it this way: I'm not putting that anywhere near my DraftKings lineup.
No, definitely not.
Because there is too much to risk.
Hello, wife. My wife is watching.
Thanks.
Diego Lima and Belal Muhammad. This should be a really good one.
So was kind of crazy to me, and I know Belal Muhammad is a very good fighter and very, very good. 17-3, great record, great everything. I was kind of surprised that he was like a 4-1 favorite.
Almost 5-1 now, I think. Last I checked, he's almost 5-1. That's like
they're saying it's like slam dunk guarantee.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so, man.
Okay. First of all, let's be fair. Diego Lima is not Douglas Lima, right?
Yeah, let's get that straight now.
I think I do think that Diego Lima gets a little bit of extra like love because his brother might be the baddest 170er on the planet.
Yeah.
Who's somebody that I think could give somebody like a Kamaru Usman a real fight. Like I truly, truly believe that. Diego, to me, he's technical, great leg kicks, black belt in jiu-jitsu, everything. He just doesn't do anything like exceptional. Yeah. But he's really good everywhere. Those guys are dangerous.
Yeah, they really are.
Muhammad is well-rounded too. He's got monster pressure, high offensive output, right? He's only 3 losses are to monsters. Jeff Neal, knocks out everybody. Vicente Luque, monster, and Alan Jouban. When Jouban's a veteran in this game, been doing it for a long time, and that was his first loss.
It was his first fight in the UFC too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm having a really like. I think Muhammad wins. I think this line is absurd.
He's not going to be in any of my. I'm not putting any cash down on this one. If I put cash down, it's going to be on Lima. I agree with that. I was going to say if I put in cash down, I'm putting it on the
over 245. Cash
over it. What is it? What's the
minus
over?
245. 2.5
Yeah,
minus
I mean,
245.
yeah, I like it.
That's so, but I am on my official picks. I do have it down right here. I am going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say Diego Lima wins a decision.
I mean,
it's going to be a big win for
Muhammad by decision is minus 150. They're pretty much saying that's how this fight's going to end. That's why we both like the over on this one. Lima by decision plus 700.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
That far. I don't think it's that far fetched. I don't think it's that far fetched.
Yeah,
I like it.
I think it's a good fight. I think it's a competitive fight. And even if Muhammad is up 2 rounds or wins it 2-1, we always have the aspect of judges are bad at their job.
Yep.
And they could save us on this one, guys.
All right. Next up, we got Rodolfo Vieira against Anthony Hernandez.
Okay. This is the lock of the night.
The lock of the night.
Where are you going?
I gotta go pee, like always.
Oh, gosh. Well, before, if you guys aren't paying attention, Randolph Vieira is one of the most elite jiu-jitsu practicers in the world. So guess what? He chokes out everybody. His nickname, you ready for his nickname? The Black Belt Hunter. He goes after everybody with the black belt. Dude, it's crazy. He's elite. He's elite for his weight class at 185 pounds. He's a monster, and he's a giant human being. His UFC debut beat a Russian on the ground, choked him unconscious. That's crazy. He's active. He's constantly, if he's not fighting, he's in jiu-jitsu competitions.
6 out of his 7 wins by sub.
He's finished every single one of them on the ground. The one that he didn't sub, he ground and pounded him.
Yeah.
And he finishes everything. Ready for this? 7-time Abu Dhabi champion, 5-time Jiu-Jitsu world champion, and 2-time Pan Am grappling champion. Anybody is that dominant in grappling, they win. They win. Vieira by submission, DraftKings lock, everything. Anthony Hernandez, sorry, you're tough. You have good experience. You beat Brendan Allen. That's great. Beat Jordan Wright in 40 seconds on Dana White Contender Series, but it got no contest, and you got suspended for 6 months for smoking weed. While I am not against fighters smoking weed for whatever reason, and it's been fixed and it's getting fixed, you know you can't do it. How dedicated are you to the sport if you know you can't do it and you still fail the test? You're getting your big break on the Dana White Contender Series and you couldn't smoke weed for 30 days?
Yeah, that's stupid.
Come on.
Yeah. Wake up.
Is it stupid you felt that it's against the drug test? Yes, it's stupid. But it's even dumber that you know that they're going to test you for it and you still fail for it. Come on.
Is there any value in Hernandez at
no
plus 325?
Not even a little bit. He's not
Vieira by submission is minus 165. You want to lay that much juice by him winning by submission?
Yeah, because that's what he does. I don't know. Do I need to go over his resume again? He strangles everybody.
He does strangle everybody.
I'm trying
to find an angle here for Hernandez.
In worlds like championship, he loses to people like Buchecha and like the elite of the elite. He beats everybody, dude.
I'm in. Vieira by submission.
Minus 165. Lock it up.
I tried.
You can't. But this next one's fun.
We're done with the prelims. Now we're going to the main card. Julian Marquez against Maki Pitolo.
So Julian
Marquez always comes to bang, man. He comes to bang.
Both of them come to bang. That's the fun part. Is that Marquez and Piloto, they both bang, and they will get in a firefight. And Maki is not afraid of a firefight, but he's also 1-3 in the UFC, and he might get cut if he loses this fight. Julian Marquez coming off a 2.5-year layoff, and his last fight, he did miss weight by 5 pounds. Kind of has me leading towards my guy Maki at plus 145.
Yeah. Oh man, this one's tough because he can bang and he has that one stop power where he could stop Marquez.
Marquez has a heck of a chin, though.
He does have a heck of a chin, but man, you nailed it. Him not having fought for, what'd you say? 2.5 years?
2.5 years, bro.
Yeah, he hasn't fought since July of 18. He lost a split decision. And that was on the Ultimate Fighter. Did beat Darren Stewart in 17. He beat Phil Hawes on the Contender Series. Oh yeah, he's the one that beat Phil Hawes by that brutal head kick. I remember that.
Yeah.
Ooh. I think there's some value on Patolo, man. Even though you know what? I'm not even going to take a risk. I think Marquez gets it done.
Really?
I think he's a better overall fighter. He's bigger.
He's more experienced, and he's a big body.
He's got a chin. I'm going to go with the guy, even because we've seen it just recently. Those guys that have had that layoff, they come back better. Nowadays, they're coming back better.
They can. Yeah, they for sure can.
I'm going with Marquez. I don't know if let's look at the odds on this. Marquez by TKO plus 250, which that's not out of the realm. Marquez wins inside the distance plus 150. I kind of like that. How do you see this fight ending?
I think it's a 3-round stand-up war.
So by decision? Who wins?
I think Patolo wins like a split decision or something like that.
Ooh. So if you like Patolo by decision, plus 350.
That's pretty good.
I don't like it, but Zach likes it. And Zach's been on fire lately, by the way.
Love it, but that's probably the way I'm leaning.
I should have led off with that before we started doing these picks. You've been on a roll lately. You've been on a roll. Even though you bet against Dame Dollar last night. How do you bet against Dame at home? Come on, Zach.
I like the 76ers.
Come on. And I messaged you too. I'm like, you're going to bet against Dame?
76ers are supposed to be good at basketball.
Well, you're against Dame at home?
It's just one of my picks, dude. Lay off.
All right, let's get on to the next fight. Let me get to the screen.
Bobby Green versus Jim Miller.
How do you not love Bobby Green?
You hate him.
I love Bobby Green.
You hated on him.
Bobby
His last
Green.
fight, you were hating on him.
Well, I won, didn't I?
No.
Yeah, I did.
Just because the judges suck at their job.
I don't care. I took Thiago Moises. He won. That's all I care about.
I think Green mops him. I think Green outpoints him and makes it look easy.
Decision? You confident on a decision on this one? Yep. I am too. I like decisions. A lot of decisions on this card.
Yeah, I think there's going to be.
Fight goes to decisions minus 205. This fight's going decision. 2 veterans, but I love Bobby Green. They're like, are you going this for the title? No, I don't care about no belt. Like I want to take care of my wife, my kids, kids. One of the most likable guys in the UFC. Love Bobby Green. Bobby Green by decision. All right, now it's going to start to get interesting. Kevin Gastelum and Ian Heinisch.
Kelvin, this is his last shot, right? He's on a 3-fight skid. The beginning of that skid was the very top, right? Fighting Izzy for the belt.
Yeah.
He kind of got caught against Jack Hermanson. That can happen. Got caught in a heel hook. Like, that happens. I love Kelvin, and we know that I love Kelvin, and I especially like him when people are counting him out because that's what all they've done his whole career. And
yeah,
I'm sorry, he's given Izzy the toughest fight he's had in the UFC.
Yeah,
and
he did.
And I think everybody's counting him out now, and I think that's when Kelvin shines. And so I'm going Kelvin on this one because Ian hasn't been great. He's only 1-2 in his last 3. I think it's a good fight. I think Kelvin can get back to his wrestling and just his straight boxing, and I think he can cruise to a decision if he executes a good solid game plan.
I'm having a hard time with this one because we had on a former guest that was on the Ultimate Fighter season in Bubba McDaniels that was on with Kevin Gastelum, and if you remember, he said he underestimated him. They looked at that guy like,
that's what I'm saying.
Who the hell is this guy? Like,
beat all of them.
And that's super hard for me to hear a guy like that who's fought at that level and basically said, the guy's got all the talent in the world.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go the other way.
Okay.
Because
It's a decent underdog too. So
it is. Ian Heinrichs is almost 2-1. He's a plus 185. I like that he's training at with the Team Elevation guys. They seem to be the hot team right now. They seem to have a good thing rolling down there. I don't like that Gastelum still fights at 185.
yeah,
It just bothers me. To me, that it's just like, okay, if you're not that disciplined enough to get down to 170, which he totally could get down to 170.
He likes cheeseburgers.
Maybe I'm being a little too harsh and he mops him up. I could see it going either way, but for my money, I'm going Ian Heinrich by decision. So we're opposite.
Yeah. Sorry, we're going to rush through these last couple ones because I got to
get ready and go.
Yeah.
Alexa Grasso and Macy Barber. This is another banging fight. Co-main event.
It's a great fight. You look at both of them. There's just one aspect of this fight that makes me feel really good about going with Macy Barber on this. She's an absolute murderer. She's a savage. She's a finisher. She has finished 7 of her 8 fights. The only one she hasn't is our girl, Mallory Martin. And while Alexa Grasso is the exact opposite, only 1 finish in all of her wins. She's a decision machine. I don't think she has the same type of killer instinct that Macy Barber does. And I think that Macy Barber, I think it's a great fight, but I think Macy Barber's too much. And coming off a loss, I think she's going to be hungry and vicious.
I do too. I'm 100% in agreement with you. She took a tough fight against Roxanne, and dude, her heart to tear an ACL and to still fight. And she was kind of getting dominated. She had some spots where she was able to flip position on the bottom, get on top and do a little bit of damage. But that third round when she was fighting with the cut and with the torn ACL, and she even had some moments in the third round where it's like, whoa, like that girl's got heart. I've already locked in my bet at Macy Barber when she was plus 110, plus 120. I'd locked it in somewhere around there. Alexa Grasso, not taking anything away from her. She's probably the better striker on the feet. She's got better hands. She's got better footwork. I just like Macy Barber. She's strong. She's aggressive.
She's mean.
And I think she's going to bully. I think she just bullies her. And I don't think Grasso's going to handle that very well. But we'll see. Grasso's legit, but I think Barber gets it done.
I agree.
Here we go. Main event. Kamaru Usman, Gilbert Dorino Burns.
Gone back and forth on this one quite a bit. I think you have too.
I have every day.
I don't know where you've fallen. I have a hard time because I honestly believe that Usman is the type of champion. When it's all said and done, he might go down as one of the greatest welterweights of all time.
Yeah.
But there is too much weird stuff with this fight. And I like Burns as the 2-1 underdog. They train together. I've heard people that have trained with both of them that is giving Burns the edge. Usman has full on admitted he's my toughest fight to date. And Colby gave him a war.
Yeah.
And Burns said, I can submit him whenever I want, however I want. And to me, that confidence comes from he did it on the practice mat. I'm confident he did. And he's an elite. He might be the one guy that Usman can take down, but doesn't want to because he's so dangerous down there. And then it comes down to, well, who's better on the feet? Usman cracks on the feet. Like he hits really hard, but he throws a lot of just like one punch cracks and stuns people.
Yeah.
Where Burns is explosive and tries to hurt people and put them away. And you see these giant flurries. I could see Burns pulling off the upset. I'm not saying that it's a lock. I'm not saying he should, but it's enough for me to say I'm going to pick Burns in this fight because I've been going a lot with the underdogs lately in these main events, I feel like, but I like Burns' odds here. I mean, wouldn't surprise me one bit if Usman can do some things. He's at a great camp. Trevor Whitman's a great coach. That stuff can't be ignored, but it's gonna be a great fight.
Who's your official pick?
Burns.
You want to know who the winner is of this fight?
The fans.
The fans and Henry Hooft.
Yeah. Henry Hoof, big winner.
He's built both of these guys. Like both these guys have been with him from the start. And I leaned Burns initially. I was all over Burns. I thought Burns had enough to do it. But the more that I've watched tape on Usman, I think the ground cancels out. I think his wrestling's too good. I don't think Burns is going to catch him. I just don't. I don't think Burns is going to be able to keep up with the pace that Usman, because Usman pushes a tough pace, man. Like,
did you watch Burns with 5 rounds with Woodley? So does he.
I get it, but Woodley wasn't giving anything back. And look at Colby Covington in that Usman fight, and it was a great fight. It was a great stand-up fight, but he was pushed and he finished Colby. That, to me, that speaks volumes. And
Usman's a great champ.
And what I like that he went to train with Trevor Whitman. I think I heard this on one of the other podcasts I was listening to. When you train somewhere for as long as Usman has, and you're training with the same guys, that sometimes it gets it's monotonous. You know, it's the same thing over and over again. So now he's at a different camp.
This is the Eddie Alvarez take, right?
Yeah. Yep. The Eddie Alvarez take. He's training at a different camp. He's training with some different killers, Gaethje, all those guys down there with Trevor Whitman. I think my pick is Usman, but I think the value is on Burns.
That's fair.
Like, I as far as a betting person, I would probably lay my money on Burns, but I think Usman gets it done.
Cool.
That's my final decision. I know you got a jam. So.
Sorry to rush. I got a jam. I got a daddy duty. But I will be posting my DraftKings lineup to the group. And because I'm still tinkering with it a little bit, but have fun, everybody. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the support. It's been a good week. Enjoy the LFA fights tonight.
Yeah, LFA tonight. Enjoy it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Stay tuned next week. We got a couple awesome guests lined up for next week.
It'll be sick.
We out.